I thank you for joining us on what was a feisty and festive day in Washington, D.C. We'll start with the festive. The president and the first lady took part in an event that's been an annual thing for the past 97 years, the lighting of the national Christmas tree. It's a cherished tradition that harkens back to the days when there were only 3 channels on TV and we had nothing better to watch than lights going on.
It's an honor to be with everyone tonight and all across our land. Melania and I would like to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And now the First Lady will do the honors of lighting the National Christmas Tree. So we'll count from 5 down to that very special number.
Which very special number? 1, is it? All right, let's see if we can make it all the way down to 1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, isn't that great? Look at that. Perfect. And Melania's dressed just like the gifts they wrapped, too. And then they went on with music and performers. This is a family fun fest that started in 1923, and in my opinion, peaked from an entertainment standpoint 30 years ago this week when Bush was president back in 1989. Hey, you know, I have to say, I've seen a lot of scary things in my life. I've been in accidents, I've been burglarized, I've been jumped on by strangers in the middle of the night. If that Charlie Brown walked into my bedroom in the middle, I would die on the spot. I would disintegrate, because it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. I mean, the legs, that to me is scarier than the It clown, you know? Anyway, the president got an early Christmas gift today. He's been especially naughty this year, so instead of coal, Nancy Pelosi gave him this.
You heard yesterday in the Judiciary Committee, the scholars present the Constitution and how the facts and the Constitution give us no choice but to move forward with impeachment of the president.
That's right. The House Judiciary Committee will now draft articles of impeachment against the president of the United States. This is big. This will be the first draft Donald Trump can't dodge. It's coming. And, of course, he lashed out today. He wrote on Twitter, the do-nothing radical left Democrats have just announced that they're going to seek to impeach me over nothing. They already gave up on the ridiculous Mueller stuff, so now they hang their hats on 2 totally appropriate, perfect phone calls with the Ukrainian. He's still sticking with perfect on these calls. You'd think you could at least get him to say, okay, maybe not perfect, maybe perfect is overstating it a little. Just say, very good call. But then he wrote, the do-nothing Democrats, again with the do-nothing Democrats, from the guy who watches TV and tweets all day, had a historically bad day yesterday in the House. They have no impeachment case and are demeaning our country, but nothing matters to them. They've gone crazy. Therefore, I say, if you're going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair trial in the Senate. Do it now, fast. That's exactly what Melania says to him on, I believe, the 3rd Friday of every month. But for weeks, one of the big talking points for Republicans has been that the Democrats are rushing the impeachment process. Now Trump says, do it now, fast. And a rare moment of discord. And the president also unveiled a new defense, and it's a really good one. I have to hand it to him. He wrote, when I said in my phone call to the president of Ukraine, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, and Ukraine knows a lot about it. With the word us, I am referring to the United States, our country. Well, why didn't you say that a while ago? That explains everything. He's the president of the us. I didn't, and you know, this has to be true because it took him 2 months to come up with it. I really have to say, I was thinking about this, and more than anything, I wonder what Mike Pence is thinking about all. Is he happy? Is he scared? Is he excited? Like at night, is he leaning over to Mother from their separate beds and whispering, "Good night, First Lady," and then she says, "Good night, Mr. President." I mean, that has to be going on, right? There's no way they're not quietly discussing this all the time. Yesterday, the House heard testimony from 4 legal scholars, 3 of whom agreed that Trump's abuse of power is worse than any president in the history of presidents. These were professors from Stanford Law, Harvard Law, highly respected schools, and so naturally, Trump sent his scariest crow out to discredit their credits, specifically attacking Professor Pamela Karlan, who holds 3 degrees from Yale.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you went to work today to manicure nails, to manicure lawn, if you went to work with a jackhammer or a welding machine or mechanics tools or a carpentry belt and not 3 degrees from Yale, that woman yesterday looks her nose down at you. She thinks that you are less than her, and I've had it.
That's right. These people need to stop looking their nose down because Kellyanne Conway has had it. But no one was more fired up about these highfalutin educatees than the Republican congressman slash pair of truck nuts come to life, Louis Gohmert of Texas.
So all I got to say is, if you love America, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to go to Harvard or Stanford Law School.
Wow, that's right. No more learning in college. All these kids need is a corncob pipe and a sex goat. Good one, Gohmert. We should start calling stupid people Gohmerts. Hey, you see that guy? He put his foot in a wood chipper? What a Gohmert. So you know how there was that video of the world leaders at the NATO summit laughing at Trump behind his back? Well, now Trump may be on the outs with his chubby little buddy Kim Jong-un, too. Kim Jong-un is said to be displeased that Trump revived the nickname Rocket Man at the summit, and as a result, their relationship status has been changed to it's complicated. If Trump doesn't stop calling him Rocket Man, North Korea has threatened, and this is for real, they threatened to resume calling Trump dotard. This is an actual quote from the North Korean foreign minister today. If any language and expressions stoking the atmosphere of confrontation are used once again on purpose at a crucial moment as now, that must really be diagnosed as the relapse of the dotage of a dotard. Whoa, that's... I don't know what that means, but it sounds really bad. And, you know, the North Koreans, they need to do a better job with Google Translate because it's not exact. I mean, if this was an action movie, it would be the worst dialogue of all time. This is what that statement would sound like if Liam Neeson said it in a movie.
If any language and expressions stoking the atmosphere of confrontation are used once again on purpose at a crucial moment as now, that must really be diagnosed as the relapse of the dotage of a dotard.
Got a very particular set of insults. Meanwhile, I would watch that movie, by the way. This is what's happening on the Democrat side. This is from a meeting of African-American supporters of Pete Buttigieg in South Bend, Indiana last night.
6 works. We have also built homes. I'll address you guys in a few minutes. If you give me my time and the respect, I will do the same thing.
Where are the black leaders that don't have 3D suits, leather jackets, and nice jewelry? Where are these black leaders? Who chose these people as black leaders? These black leaders are here to talk about Pete Buttigieg when there is black people are having a crisis because of police violence.
One of the things we're going to get to out here.
The Sandman's grandma showed up. And this happened in Iowa today at a Joe Biden event. A voter started parroting Fox News talking points about Joe's son Hunter's activities in Ukraine, and that did not sit well with Joe.
Number two, no one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not one.
You said you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
He said no malarkey, and I think he meant it, you know? So things in the country are going great. Hey, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Give back this holiday season in a fun way. Buy my new book, The Serious Goose. I wrote it and drew it. All the money I make goes to children's hospitals across the country. Or watch another gaming video and don't help kids. It's up to you.